Coming up on this episode of Up for Debate, we're talking sandwiches. That's right, things you can put between two slices of bread. The good sandwiches, the not so good sandwiches, and some of your favorite sandwiches. We're going to talk about them all and have some laughs along the way, so stick around because it's time for Up for Debate. This is Up for Debate, episode number 61, recorded September 29th, 2016, Between Two Slices. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Up for Debate. I'm Shaun Jennings, the guy with a slight cold, joined as always by the guy who you cannot see, Mr. Matt Mariani.
I picked the one week I get a nice new haircut, and no one can see it.
Nope, you'll just have to take your word. Did you go for the frosted tips, or you go for the?
I was told that it's called the fade.
The fade. Did you get like the Mets insignia styled into the side?
Yeah, I got that on the left side, and I got a cool lightning bolt on the right side.
Nice, classic. That never goes out of style.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
I like it. Are the Mets in the playoffs? I don't follow baseball.
They haven't clinched yet, but they are currently in the. They have the first spot of the two wild cards. So. Your Boston Red Sox, they actually just clinched yesterday or last night.
I think you mean the Houston Astros, Matt.
Oh, your Houston Astros suck.
I don't like. Actually, in the playoffs last year, I was rooting for the Mets, so I don't really have a baseball team.
Well, hopefully you'll have the opportunity to root for the Mets once again.
I'm a bandwagon fan, so pretty much whoever in basketball in the same way. I became a Warriors fan as soon as they got good. So. You know, that's how I roll.
Good. Not a fan of not the Houston Oilers. What's the
Rockets? The Oilers don't exist.
Oh, the Houston Rockets. Yes.
Rockets.
They have all the space themed names.
They do. They do. Actually, speaking of that, well, see, you're not on video, so you don't get to see my awesome Johnson Space Center mug that I picked up at Johnson Space Center.
I saw your Snapchats. You looked like you had a fine time going into space.
Matt, they literally have an actual space shuttle you can go in. Like, not like, a replica, like an actual, like, honest to goodness space shuttle.
Wow.
And you can go in it. And, they don't actually let you, like, operate it, but they have all the switches and the button. You actually, like, see the cockpit.
You know what's going to happen one time? You're the next time you go and visit, you're gonna go inside and you're gonna accidentally like hit the control that shuts the door, and then you're gonna like be like, oh, how do I open the door back up? Here, I wonder if it's this button, and then the engines start roaring, and then you're like, I wonder, all right, how do I make the engine stop? Maybe it's this button, and then the wheels start turning and it starts to cat crawl on the runway. Before you know it, you're in space.
You're in space. I feel confident that's not how it works, but the funny thing is the way they have it set up there, because the space shuttle would land in California, and then to get it back to Florida to launch again, they put it on top of a Boeing 747, strapped it to the top, I'm sure you've seen pictures, and would fly it across the country. A big feat of engineering. Quite interesting. But so at Johnson Space Center, they actually have the Boeing 747 with the shuttle strapped to the top of it, and you climb upstairs and you can go in the 747, and then you can go in the space shuttle.
That's pretty great.
And so I like to say that you couldn't launch it, but it is just a plane on wheels just sitting there. I don't, who knows?
If there's one person who would be able to launch that space shuttle and get it, into outer space, you know who that person would be?
Buzz Aldrin. No, I don't know who.
It would be Miss Frizzle.
Miss Frizzle. I thought a bus was more her style.
I mean, she has the Magic School Bus, but
yeah, she hasn't.
I feel like that kind of scenario is always like how their shows go, isn't it? Like they all get locked in the museum, and then the things start coming to life.
That teacher, she is some kind of evil witch demon. Like, the crap she puts those poor kids through.
Yeah.
Like,
Imagine the story.
It's horrible. It's really genuinely horrible.
And you know what? I sincerely doubt that she gets permission slips for these trips from the parents.
Absolutely not. And those kids, like, every time are in some kind of peril.
Because I guarantee, if she collected permission slips, that what's that kid, Arnold?
Yeah.
He'd never go on a field trip because he hates them. He hates going on a field trip.
Mom, Miss Frizzle's gonna take us inside the human body. I need your permission.
He should. He should probably ask to be transferred to a different school.
You should bring it up to the school board. I can't imagine that's. I mean, you're a teacher, Matt.
That's a nightmare.
Is that legally?
I mean, you have a teacher in your building who's not collecting permission slips for a field trip. It seems like they go on field trips every day.
That's right.
So
when do they actually learn anything? Yeah.
Could you? I mean, I'm all for learning through experience and design, but
could you imagine the episode of the Magic School Bus where Miss Frizzle and the students where they have to take state-issued standardized tests? Be like, all right, students, yesterday we went to outer space. Today, you're going to be filling in the bubbles and answering essay prompts so they can grade me as your educator.
None of the things that we learned are on this test.
Oh, God. Miss Frizzle, why isn't the test asking us about the time we shrank down to the size of insects? Like, I don't know. They didn't teach me this in teacher school. Oh, my God. Yeah, no, those kids, I would not be surprised if it was like Lost, where those kids are like in some kind of hell purgatory this whole time, and they're not, like they all did terrible things in a past life, and that's why they are now permanently stuck as students that never get older and have to go through these insane adventures where their life is constantly in peril.
That'd make for a great series finale.
Like a philosophical thought piece of the Magic School Bus. They
never learned enough in their previous lifetimes. Now they must be taught again and again.
Constantly, as feeble-minded children.
I mean, there's one episode I remember where they go in outer space.
Yeah.
And the boy, Arnold, who hates the field trips to begin with, he takes his helmet off when I think they're on Pluto.
Yeah.
And his skin freezes.
Yeah. It's awful.
He freezes solid into a solid block of ice. All right? So he's dead right there. He died. Like, you don't take your helmet off in space and live. But the lizard, I forgot the name of the lizard, but it's Miss Frizzle's pet lizard. The lizard had some blow dryers and hair dryers, and they thawed him out with the hair dryers and everything.
Works. Even when the Magic School Bus tries to teach you something, they don't even teach you the right thing.
It's just a massive lawsuit waiting to happen. Now Pluto's not even a planet, so they did that all for nothing.
Nope. Oh my goodness, Magic School. But we need to do a whole episode on children's educational programming, like Bill Nye.
Put that on the spreadsheet.
Add it to the list. All right. Well, I think we will.
Wizard. You ever see Mr. Wizard?
Mr. Wizard was grumpy.
Yeah,
he always seemed angry.
He's like a less friendly Bill Nye.
Yeah,
that's how I describe it.
Yeah, but he was Canadian too, which I always thought. Yeah, the kids are all. If you go back and watch it and pay attention, you're like, yeah, this is definitely shot in Canada.
Okay, I'll look for that next time I watch Mr. Wizard.
When you're watching reruns of Mr. Wizard.
He was very grumpy. He's like, now pay attention, kids. I'm not going to go through this again. And like Mr. Bill Nye is like, I want to make science fun. And
yeah, I always felt like Mr. Wizard was like one or two sly comments from a kid's away from slapping them.
Yeah, I was going to say
He's like, I swear to God, if you screw up this experiment one more time.
How many times do I have to go over it? This is fusion. This is fission. God damn it.
Oh, that poor old man. Getting stuck with all those kids. Oh, Matt. Sadly, we're not here to talk about children's programming. But we're here
No,
to
we're
talk
here
about
for an even nobler purpose.
an even more in-depth, fascinating discussion around a topic that's on the minds of millions of Americans. You know, Matt, today is National Coffee Day.
Why aren't we talking about coffee?
I don't know. That was a real missed opportunity. We kind of did when we did breakfast.
Now, I should mention that National Sandwich Day is on November 3rd.
Why aren't we talking about sandwiches then? Wow, Matt, we
So
are.
what we could do is we can wait for November 3rd and then talk about coffee on November 3rd and we just switch the days around.
The funny thing is, November 3rd is a Thursday.
Well, that's perfect.
So I think that works. So
It's almost like fate. It's almost like fate deigned this to happen.
I agree. I think there's no better time to talk about sandwiches than on National Coffee Day.
And there's no better time to talk about coffee than on National Sandwich Day.
Perfect. I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. Matt, sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Is there
Do you know
anything
anybody
better?
that says sandwiches?
No, because I don't think that's a thing.
It shouldn't be.
I'm not.
But
No.
it is.
I don't think that's true.
Like there's the G in it. They invent that G. Sandwiches.
Yeah, I think you just made that up.
You never heard that?
No, I'm not buying it.
Bye.
So sandwiches, right?
Right.
Where do you want to start on sandwiches? Because the great thing I think about a sandwich is that it can be literally anything. Like sandwich to me may be the least defined food on the planet. Like there was the famous argument: is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
It's meat
Absolutely
between
not.
two pieces of bread.
Yeah, but that's not what a sandwich is.
Okay, so let's start with that. What is a sandwich?
As I think for a sandwich to be a sandwich, it has to be arranged vertically. Okay? And a hot dog is arranged horizontally.
Well, not if you tip
So
it
right
over.
there, that is why a hot dog cannot be a sandwich.
So yeah, but what about like a lobster roll?
A lobster roll is not a sandwich, it's a roll.
Well, no,
That's why it's not called a lobster sandwich.
So any top cut sandwich, so any kind of roll cut vertically instead of horizontally is therefore not a sandwich.
No, if it's arranged.
So
Yes,
a
that's
hamburger
exactly
is a sandwich,
Yes, a hamburger is a sandwich.
but a hot dog is not.
A hot dog is not. A lobster roll is not. But a ham and cheese sandwich is. But if you took that exact same meat and you put it in a wrap, guess what? It is not a sandwich. It is a wrap.
But well, what about
So
a panini?
saith
Is a
the law.
panini a sandwich?
Yes, a panini is a sandwich
That's a
that
grilled
has
sandwich.
been put into a press.
Okay, what about a
Grill.
hoagie, or a hero, or a sub?
These are all just different names for sandwiches.
Well, listen. This is your definition. I'm just
Oh,
checking.
coincidentally, in my research, I think I finally solved the name of the sandwich debate. Okay.
Okay.
Apparently, all right, Sean. What do they call a sandwich in your home region?
Well, honestly, I think you even have to probably get more specific than that, but I can tell you the way I've defined it, and I grew up there, so I guess I'm kind of the indicator. But for me, a hot sandwich is a hoagie. No, wait, let me see if I get this right. A sub is always cold, and a hero is hot. And I think
All
a
right.
hoagie, I think can go both ways, but it's also mostly hot. A sub is always cold, though.
I don't know about that because I've had plenty of meatball subs, and
No, but-
meatball subs are hot.
No, those are heroes.
Right?
No, those are heroes.
Meatball hero?
Yeah. Or a
Oh, see,
hoagie.
I never thought the distinction was because of temperature.
See,
I
but
always
that's
thought
what-
it was like a regional thing. Like I know in New England they say, well, I know at least in Connecticut they say hoagie. I think. No, Connecticut subs. Connecticut is definitely subs.
I would, but I would
You
say
sub.
I would say where I'm from, it's mostly subs.
Okay,
The
and then
default would be sub.
like South Jersey, Philly, you get that's where you get hoagies.
But I think that's where the difference is because for me,
Then there's grinders.
Grinders are always hot, and I don't care. There is no such thing as a cold grinder. That is a fact.
Okay.
And the
I mean,
difference.
I've never heard them categorized based on temperature.
Well, I'm telling you, that's how.
But I can when I picture a grinder in my head, I'm picturing something hot.
But the way.
So I'll give you the point for that one.
So, but my distinction is from where you buy it, right? You buy a cold sub at a sandwich shop or a sub shop, right?
Okay.
Whether it's a Subway or a local one or whatever. Whether it's a Hero or a Grinder, it's hot and you get it at a pizza shop. It's that Italian kind of, meatball sub, cheesesteak, hot sub. That's the distinction for me.
Yeah, like the chicken parm. Yeah.
Sure, and that would be a grinder.
Well, I just know based on what I've read, it seems like they all started out as heroes, which comes from the Greek, the same word gyro.
Yeah.
Is gyro, yeah. And then that became hero for sandwiches, for everything.
Matt,
is a
gyro a sandwich?
Gyro.
I'm sorry.
Gyro.
Sore throat.
I would say that it is not a sandwich because it's more like a wrap, right?
I guess, yeah.
But I think some people probably got confused. Like you said, they probably started serving these hot sandwiches, and they were like, "Oh, it's kind of like this wrap."
Well, then let me.
Let's call it a hero.
Then I love.
Then,
go ahead.
The sub came because a naval base in Connecticut ordered like 500 heroes, and they started calling that hero the sub hero, and then eventually it just became the sub.
Matt, where did you read this? On fakefacts.com? That's not a thing.
Why?
I don't believe you.
What's so hard to believe about that?
Because that sounds exactly like a story I would make up. Oh, they call it a sub because they delivered a bunch to a submarine once.
Now this is all based on legend. It says legend has it, but I mean, I don't know. Is it true? Is it not? Shaun, how did the sandwich get its name?
Before we get to that, Matt, I have to ask you: is a quesadilla a sandwich? Because you have two slices of a bread-like material stacked vertically with a filling in between.
No, a quesadilla is not a sandwich. It's a wrap.
But it doesn't go all the way around.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't.
Or at least not. At least not. Like a.
Okay, a quesadilla is a sandwich.
Hey, yes. I'm sorry. I just like stupid word shit like that, where it's like, is it? Where you got to define it to death. I don't know.
I think I would. All right, I've changed my mind. I was actually picturing a burrito in my head. The burrito is not a sandwich, but the quesadilla is a sandwich.
Is a form of sandwich. Okay.
Meets the sandwich criteria, so it is a sandwich.
Matt, I know exactly where the name sandwich comes from. Would you like to know?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I'm sure the folks at home would as well.
So the sandwich dates back to the late 1600s, early 1700s, colonial America, where a young woman named Abigail Smithers was found one day to be betraying her husband by putting meats and cheeses between two slices of old bread. She would do so by herself down at the beach, so no one would ever find her. She was accused of promoting anti-Christian values by creating this meat, cheese, bread concoction. She was labeled as a witch, of course, famously known as a sand witch, because her sandwiches would also be covered in sand because she made them at the beach. And she was burned at the stake for that, but her legacy lives on in the sandwich she created for all of America.
Wow. I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean,
you might want to Google.
We honor her memory every time we.
Long live Abigail Smithers, the inventor of the Sandy Witch.
Sandwich.
The
original Sandy Witch.
Yes. Couldn't you imagine they'll go to like Salem, Mass, and there's a sign, here at Joe's Diner, the original Sandy Witch.
I think the beach is probably the worst place in the world to have a sandwich. I know so many people do it. So many people pack them in the cooler, but they're like, I don't know. I think like your hands get sandy. There's no place to wash them off. So you pull the sandwich out, and then you get the sandwich sandy. I don't know. I think there are plenty of better opportunities for sandwiches.
So, by the way, speaking of the worst places to eat a sandwich, here's a fun fact that combines our previous space conversation, right? Do you know the famous story of the sandwich in space?
No, go on.
So, NASA is very careful about how food is brought into space, right? It's freeze dried, dehydrated, measured exactly, weighed exactly. They have to be extremely careful. However, back in, and I'm trying to look up the year, back in 1965, Neil Armstrong was conducting test. Oh, on 19. So in 1961, they were conducting tests with Gus Grissom and John Young on the Gemini 3 space capsule. And John Young snuck a corned beef sandwich in his flight suit pocket and carried it up into space without the knowledge of anybody at NASA or his co-pilot. Apparently, the sandwich didn't cope well in microgravity, and NASA was quite upset.
Did the sandwich like catch fire in his pocket?
No, it carried it up. It was just fine, and they ate it. It just kind of, floated all around in microgravity, and it was.
That probably got everything very dirty. That could have been really dangerous.
He got in a lot of trouble, but he claimed he forgot it was in there, and by the time he got up there, he said we should probably eat it. So.
The first sandwich in space.
The first sandwich in space, corned beef.
That was corned beef. Interesting.
So where does the sandwich come from, Matt?
I think we pretty much established.
We got it right the first time. Okay, good.
Sandy Witch.
So the Sandy Witch.
The real story is much less exciting. Doesn't involve witches or sand, but it does involve a card game. Legend has it, Sir John Montague, the fourth Earl of Sandwich, was playing a 24-hour marathon gambling event. They think the game was Pinochle, but they're not entirely sure. And he was unwilling. Legend has it he was unwilling to free up both of his hands to eat the meat that was prepared for him. They had a platter of meat, and he did not want to free up one of his hands to grab the meat, I guess, in case somebody might cheat off of his hand.
Sure.
So he ordered one of the serving wenches to assemble the meat and the bread together, so he wouldn't have to. I guess so he would be able to just eat it both with both of his hands, and he could put the cards down so people wouldn't cheat and look at his hands. So, yeah, the Earl of Sandwich invented the sandwich because he was too preoccupied with gambling to get up and make himself food, which is kind of sad in a way. Maybe he had like some kind of problem now that you think about it. Maybe he was a gambling addict.
I call crap on that, like I do all the stories you tell us, and mainly on this one because that's like saying so and so guy invented the map. Well, no, people back to ancient times have been drawing pictures of locations. I can't imagine he was the first person to ever put things that weren't bread inside of bread.
He almost definitely was not the first person to think of that idea, but that's just,
I guess
that's just the most famous occasion.
But that sucks.
And I'm sure, people for generations at that point had already been eating bread and meat separately, but on the same table. I think it was just a matter of time. Eventually they would be combined.
So he didn't create the sandwich, he more innovated the sandwich.
And he didn't really create it. It sounds like his serving wenches created it for him and just named it after him.
Wow, this guy is awesome.
Yeah. I wonder if he won that game, too.
I am so on board with the guy who's like, this is delicious. I will claim as I invent. You're kind of the Thomas Edison of his day.
Pretty much.
Just a real dick inventor. I love it. Very
Sean,
good.
what do you think the most popular, or what do you think the most consumed sandwich in America is annually?
I wouldn't even know how to approach that because there's so many types and varieties of sandwiches. It's,
Just a guess. Which one do you think is eaten the most?
I mean, I would say you're a traditional kind of Italian sub. You're
An
sort of
Italian sub.
your ham salami kind of Italian meats sandwich.
Well, one of those is the right answer.
Oh, is it ham? Is it a ham
It's the
sandwich?
ham. Yeah, the ham. Traditional ham sandwich is the most eaten sandwich. And believe it or not, the most preferred condiment to go on that ham is mayo.
Yeah, I could see that.
A lot of people like their mayo. Mustard actually came in third under cheese. They counted cheese as a condiment.
Cheese is not a condiment.
I would say that cheese is like a secondary kind of. It's like almost like the second half of the sandwich, really.
No, you know what? Cheese is cheese. It's its own category. Like it's like
Yeah,
what elements do you have in a sandwich? Bread, meat, cheese, condiment. Like it's its own thing.
Pickles sometimes.
Oh, pickles. Okay,
I happen to really like mayo with ham. I didn't think it was that common. A lot of people put mustard on ham, which is okay too. But I don't know. I've always been a bit of proponent of the mayo ham combo. Now, a lot of people probably guess the peanut butter and jelly if you're playing along at home.
Yeah, I could see that. Although I feel like that's kind of a dated thing.
Yeah, the peanut butter and jelly has seemed to have actually lost a great deal of its popularity ever since the mid '90s. Stock in peanut butter and jelly has gone down, or consumption has dropped ever so slightly. That has fallen and is now our third most consumed sandwich, and that is behind ham first. And if I recall correctly, I think it was I think bologna was second.
Yeah. You know.
No, you know what was second? This one might surprise you. Wasn't bologna. The BLT.
God, that's a weak sandwich.
It's the second most consumed.
That's bullshit. Matt, where are you finding these facts? I mean, seriously, I am.
Why do you doubt me? Why would you doubt?
Because the BLT is like a weak ass sandwich. I'm sorry.
It really is. I've always hated the BLT. I've always discredited the BLT.
To me, the BLT is a sandwich that just is permanently missing something.
That's exactly right.
I go to eat it and I'm like, this is incomplete.
You could pretty much improve the status of the BLT by doing almost anything. If you add cheese, it gets better. If you add an actual meat patty, it'll get better. And then you can call it a burger. If you add ham, it becomes a ham melt, and it gets better. A
BLT is a sandwich you put another sandwich inside of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's even a thing or why it's even worth it. And I especially don't know why it's the second most consumed sandwich, and I don't believe that.
Well, first of all, I don't know who's spending the time and effort to survey Americans on which sandwiches they eat the most.
Probably the companies that, probably like Boar's Head or something.
The sandwich lobby, Big Sandwich.
Yeah, Big Sandwich.
Big Sandwich. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my go-to sandwich. Matt, do you know I eat the exact same sandwich every single day?
Oh, you're one of those people?
I'm one of those people. You get you get a roll.
Okay.
And
long roll or like a round roll, like a
round roll, like a Kaiser roll or a. There's another name for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name for it. Bulky.
A bulky roll. Yep.
Yeah, bulky.
And then on the bulky roll, you put boar's head rotisserie chicken that they shave for you at the deli. Some shredded 4-cheese Mexican blend shredded cheese.
Okay, this is getting weird.
Iceberg lettuce.
This is getting real weird.
And then that's it.
Oh God! You don't put a condiment on it?
I don't like sandwich. I'm not a big
Oh,
sandwich
that's
condiment
real
guy.
weird. That is a real weird sandwich, Sean. I hate to tell
How
you.
is that weird?
All right, so let's start with the
Break
okay.
it down.
Said chicken is okay. You could improve that. You can make it buffalo chicken,
Too spicy.
or you can make it a smoked chicken, which is
Well,
also
that is
really
kind
good.
of what the rotisserie chicken is.
Or you could ask for a barbecue chicken.
I've tried that. It doesn't have a lot of barbecue flavor. Like I can't tell the
Uh,
difference.
it is a little weak.
Yeah.
But I'm not my beef is not with the condiment. My beef is not with the chicken, if
Right.
you will.
Uh huh.
My beef is with the. It started going downhill for me as soon as you said shredded cheese.
Okay, but hang on though. I want to rep for shredded cheese. And by the way, I put shredded cheese on everything. I go through shredded cheese more than I think any other
That's
food item I buy.
what do you have against sliced cheese?
Because A, it is too much cheese. I don't like a lot of cheese. And two, you get more uniform cheese spread. The problem with a slice, especially if you go for a square slice on a round bun, your cheese distribution is off. It's like when you go to, it always bothered me when you go to like a Subway, which I don't really go to Subway anymore, but they have the triangle slices of cheese, but they overlap the corners instead of doing them opposite.
Yeah, I
So,
hate that.
because they could uniformly cover your sandwich, and instead they double layer the cheese and then leave parts without cheese. I'm like, it's so. I assume that's why it's in that shape. Like, it. Come on.
Now with shredded cheese though, you must put a lot on it to
A decent
even.
amount,
It's like unnoticeable without.
right?
If
No,
unless you pile it high, it's like
no, it's
I
a
can't.
it's a healthy amount, but but I don't like a lot of cheese anyway. Especially if even if I got deli cheese, I have them slice it real thin anyway. So
Okay.
don't be hating on
Okay.
my.
Now, all right. No, I'm not done hating it. I'm not done hating. You still got your iceberg lettuce there. Did you know that's mostly water?
Yeah,
That's like
it's a weak
nine
lettuce.
9% water.
No, listen, Matt. It's a weak lettuce. The problem is,
Weak
I find
lettuce.
iceberg lettuce takes longer to spoil than other types of green leaf.
So you're economical about it.
I'm economical, and I it's cheaper. So it's a budget play. Look. What am I gonna get? Spinach, romaine, red
Yeah,
leaf. What do
I
I
go
look
with
like? I'm
the
made of
romaine.
money.
That's the good stuff right there.
Spinach is actually a fantastic sandwich green. I used to do that a lot.
Agreed. Spinach goes very well in sandwiches. It's kind of like undesirable on its own, unless you mix it with a different salad or something. But
Well,
yeah, it's good on
when I'm
sandwiches.
feeling splurgy, I'll do spinach, and then for a dressing on a chicken or turkey sandwich, Italian dressing,
That's a
very
good
good
sandwich.
with the
Okay.
spinach. So it's basically like you're having a salad
Agreed.
on top of your chicken. It's like a chicken salad, but as a sandwich. So
Now, in terms of favorite sandwiches, I probably have two. I have my favorite sandwich, and then I have um, my favorite work. I'll call it the working lunch sandwich. My favorite sandwich, the classic sandwich that you could have at home. Believe it or not, it's just a simple grilled cheese.
okay, but define simple grilled cheese. I mean, are you talking bread and
I
cheese?
just like just a grilled cheese sandwich with like two or three slices of cheese. All right, and maybe you put one slice of ham, maybe you don't, maybe you put bacon.
I
The
think,
grilled cheese is it's just so nice and versatile.
but
And and unlike the BLT, okay, unlike its BLT cousin, it can stand alone, and an enhancement would help it, but like just for me, something about it, just nothing ever beats that classic grilled cheese sandwich. All right, with a lot of butter, fried on a pan or a grill of some kind, and maybe a pickle on the side, maybe some fries.
what I really like about the grilled cheese is the fact that it's so versatile, right? Because you start with such a clean slate of a
Yeah,
sandwich, and you're right, you can just do bread and cheese, and hell, even Wonder Bread and Kraft Singles is a decent sandwich, but you have so many places you can go with meats and with vegetables and with cheeses and with breads, and the possibilities are just, I love to do a tomato slice on mine. I like to do a thicker cut bread. I like to mix types of cheeses. You want to get like a provolone or something a little heavier, but then you also want something that's going to string like a mozzarella. When you pull it apart. Pepper jack for the spice. You do a little peppers and onions in there or something. I've made mac and cheese inside a grilled cheese.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many ways you can do it. Pulled pork is fantastic.
Yeah.
Come on. Get out of here. So, no, I agree. I think, to be honest, that should be the number 2 sandwich. I don't know why.
That's the best one.
A BLT should, yeah.
Yeah, totally. I would totally demote the BLT. It's a sad excuse for a sandwich right there.
Yeah.
And I don't like anything that says open face. Okay, like you got.
Well, is an open face sandwich a sandwich?
See, that's the rub, isn't it? I mean, I would say so. Because really, all you're doing is you're taking the top bun off, but it is itself a sandwich. That's like saying this cheeseburger is not a cheeseburger because I took the top bun off. I think it's still a cheeseburger.
But see, I think of it more like is a pizza with no sauce still a pizza? It's a round dough and it's got cheese and a few other things.
I don't think it is. I think at that point it becomes a flatbread.
But that's what I'm saying. So at what point does a sandwich stop being a sandwich? I think it's prime.
Well,
the number one thing you need to be a sandwich is between 2 slices of bread. And if you take out one slice, you're...
Oh, now in that definition of the pizza, you're actually removing an ingredient in the pizza. The sandwich, you're not removing an ingredient. You're just putting it off to this. You're putting a...
I've had open face sandwiches where they don't give you the other slice of bread.
Yeah, but the bread is still there. It's just there's only one slice of bread instead of 2.
You were entitled.
So I don't think you're. Now, if they remove both of the buns, just gave you the middle part, then we can talk about whether or not it's a sandwich.
That's not even an open face sandwich, though. That's just a meal.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't even know what that would be, but I think if you're just removing one of the breads, then I would still call it a sandwich. Mm-hmm. It would just be an open face sandwich.
Now you said grilled cheese was your number 1.
Yep, grilled cheese was definitely my number 1 sandwich, but you can't. It's really kind of inconvenient to bring to work to like have as a working lunch kind of thing. So my favorite go-to to bring to work, I'm going to get a little ethnic here, and I'm going to say it's the mozzarella and pepperoni combo sandwich.
First of all, is that ethnic?
I think it's pretty. By ethnic I meant Italian. It's an Italian sandwich.
Matt, you are Italian. You don't have to say ethnic. You get away with it. I
guess I could get away with it.
So what? You just put pepperoni and mozzarella between 2 slices of bread?
Yes, but what you need to do is it needs to be a generous amount of pepperoni. Okay, you can't chintz on the pepperoni. It has to be, I would say, at least 5 or 6 slices of round pepper, like full pepperoni.
And we're talking like deli pepperoni.
The deli kind, not like the pizza topping kind.
Sure.
And then you get yourself like 5 or 6 or 7 slices of that, and you get a generous slice of mozzarella cheese. And it doesn't really need more than that. I like it on just hamburger bun. But you could do that on a hot dog bun, or you could do that on a wedge roll, or you could do that on a bulky. Now you could go even further, and you could get some olive oil and vinegar, kind of like dress it up a little bit. But it doesn't need that. Definitely, just the 2 things by itself would be plenty. Now, sometimes what I like to do with sandwiches, not just this one in general, I love taking the top part off, lining the top part of the sandwich with potato chips or French fries.
Wait, with the pepperoni and mozzarella?
No, I said you could do it with that one. No, but I mean, just
what I'm saying is I don't think you can.
Just any sandwich. Oh, you totally
No,
could.
I don't think you can.
Oh, you absolutely could do. You can do it with any. I've done it. I've done it with just about any sandwich I've ever had, and it's phenomenal every time you do it. And what I like to do is I like to take the fries, and I make a little thatched roof.
Oh
I
my
take
God.
I go like vertical, 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 horizontal, 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 and I just kind of line it up like that all the way through. That way, like you were talking about before with the cheese, it's uniform, like it's all uniformity.
Matt, I think this is the part of the show where we have to bring in the disclaimer that says the views of Matt Mariani do not necessarily reflect the views of Up for Debate or Shaun Jennings.
Then you get a pineapple, and you
Oh
might
my.
cut the pineapple up and put that on the sandwich too.
And then throw on some M&Ms and put in a
Love
little
sandwich.
little dill relish and you know whatever you got in the fridge, just throw it in there.
Throw it. In. That's what we call
Soda,
a
purple
junk
stuff,
sandwich.
Sunny D, it doesn't matter. Just put it on the sandwich. That's insane. Now I would be worried. So you're telling me you're sort of like go to bring to lunch or bring to work type lunch is pepperoni and mozzarella. That does not sound healthy.
Oh, it's not. It's terrible for you.
Like I feel like if someone ate that every day,
Probably shorten your life by about 3 or 4 years, but
I mean, it sounds good, but
you will enjoy it. Now, I don't bring that every day. Like that's my favorite thing to bring to lunch, and I probably would say I have it like once every 2 weeks. But I guess when bringing a lunch, I'll do something lame like turkey and ham. I mean, turkey and mayo or ham and mayo. That's like the everyday lunch. But the it's a special day when you got the pepperoni and mozz to look forward to.
I did like that you mentioned one thing, which was, for me, probably if I had to pick a number one sandwich condiment across the board, I think it would be an oil and vinegar. I think is a vastly underrated sandwich condiment. I mean, don't get me wrong, mayo's fine, mustard's fine, ketchup is weird, but I think a sandwich can be really heightened by the inclusion of an oil, because for me it doesn't weigh down the sandwich as much as, as a thicker condiment.
I was going to say it. Yeah, it doesn't.
It adds flavor without adding weight, and it complements meats.
It does. It complements them, but it does not detract. It says, "Look, you're the real star here. I'm just here to make you look good." That's what the oil and vinegar salad dressing does. It doesn't. It's not like the mayo where it wants to be the star, or the the mustard. The mustard really wants to. The mustard is a diva. But no, that salad dressing, it kind of says, "I'm going to help you out. It's your show, but I'm just going to make it the best show I can."
Now, Matt, I want to talk about a different kind of sandwich. Because in if I had to pick my second, so I would say the chicken sandwich is what I bring every day to work. It's not my favorite sandwich. My favorite sandwich is probably an Italian style sub with several Italian meats, lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, olive oil, some kind of seasoning on a nice roll. But behind that is probably tuna salad, and I think salad sandwiches are interesting. Your egg salad, your chicken salad, your tuna salad. Very mayo heavy.
Ham salad,
absolutely. Usually a little more mayo heavy. Makes a bit of a thicker sandwich than you might have otherwise. You can do tuna with, again, you get a little cheese on there, melt it, hot tuna sandwich. Come on, tuna melt.
It's pretty good.
Throw some pickles on there. It's makes a good sandwich.
Definitely, yeah. There's a whole untapped market. You got egg salad sandwich. You have now we can get into another debate though. Is that actually a salad? Because really, what they do is they kind of cut the meat up into cubes, right, and then just douse it with mayo.
No, a good whether it's chicken or tuna or whatever salad has more than just chicken and mayo. If your chicken salad has just chicken and mayo, you've kind of failed at life. What
else does it have?
Oh my goodness! Well, first of all, you got to put some spice in there and some flavor. I've had it there's a great one I had once where it had cranberries, a little curry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say curry is fantastic.
And cranberry is very underrated. In a good tuna salad, you'll put celery and onions and garlic, and you make some nice flavor out of that. So no, I don't. I think it's pretty rare to just have it be straight. Egg salad is usually a little more straightforward, being just egg.
Egg salad, you put some relish in there. Relish,
Mustard, I believe you can put in
chopped on
there.
some
Horseradish.
Yep.
You've got some good options, certainly. Yeah. Sandwiches. Yeah.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Do I have any more sandwich fun facts? Thought I had more.
Now,
It was kind of interesting. Would you like to know the most expensive sandwich?
yes.
The most expensive sandwich ever sold. You're going to call bullshit on this right away. I know it. It was just a grilled toast sandwich, which I think they mean grilled cheese because I remember hearing about this. But it's I think a grilled cheese sandwich that appeared to have an image of the Virgin Mary on one of the slices of bread. And that sandwich sold for $28,000.
Well, I'm going to call BS not on the price, but on the fact that the person who bought it did not buy it as a sandwich. They bought it as a religious artifact.
Yeah.
So it's not really the most expensive. When you said most expensive, I assumed that because I know there was famously like the most expensive ice cream sundae, which had like caviar ice cream and gold leaf on top, and a rare egg in it, and it cost like $20,000 or something. Like that's what I expected. I'm like, oh, the sandwich, the bread was made by monks in the 18th century and has been locked in a cave for 1,000 years, and it's the only loaf ever discovered, and it costs $50,000. Like that's
Yeah, it's more of a novelty sale right there.
Yeah.
I do remember hearing about a sandwich that had gold flakes. Like I forget what kind, and it was probably the most expensive sandwich that you can buy in a typical market.
Oh, sure.
I want to say it was in Dubai or someplace.
Yeah, there's always some restaurant trying to get attention by. I know there was a hamburger once they did with like the rarest, most exotic meat and all kinds of crazy.
It's like the guy that walked into the Starbucks and ordered, I guess, the most expensive drink that you can order, like with the combination. It's like $87 or something.
Yep. God, could you imagine being in the line behind that guy? I would have been so pissed.
I hope he went in when it wasn't too busy.
I hope so, because otherwise, I put it this way: I hope he bought a lot of people behind him drinks.
Not just not just being the person behind him. Imagine being the person in front of him, and you decide that's going to be the one day you're going to be the good Samaritan.
Yes. Oh my
God. Whatever the guy behind me wants, I'll pay for that too.
Oh my God, that's a good thing to like. Just know what the most expensive drink is, like the recipe, just to be a dick to people who do that. Be like, I know, I did that once too. Oh my gosh, this is kind of a side story that has no business being told here, but I took my coworker needed someone to go help him drop his car off at the shop and then drive him back to the office. And so I met him at the dealership where he dropped off his car, and I got in and he said, "Oh, Shaun, thank you. I'll buy you a coffee." And I said, "Okay, that's really nice of you, John. You didn't have to do that." And so he said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "Oh, we'll go wherever." And he goes, "Well, let's go to Starbucks." Now, there was Dunkin' Donuts closer, but he said Starbucks, for the record. I said, "All right." So we drive to Starbucks, and we get in line. And he orders, a small regular coffee, like $1.50. And I order, what was it? It was like a creme brulee latte, large. It ended up being like $6. He was so mad. He's like, "I was buying you a coffee. I did not expect it to be that much," and he did not let me live down that. Shaun went ahead and, took me up on my generosity and bought the most expensive coffee they had. That's just the kind of friend I am. Now I do want to talk about.
Should have gotten a cookie with that too.
I should have gotten like a breakfast sandwich. Why don't we just get coffees for the whole office while we're here? John's buying. I'm sure he would have appreciated that. So, sandwich innovations, Matt. Mm-hmm. A fan of the show his name is Colby, and recommended we talk about a specific sandwich.
Hey, Colby.
And I would say, oh, he's not watching now. He said this on Don't Panic last night. And I think, a traditional sandwich, as we've said, is meat and cheese and toppings and dressing and bread. But I think there are some interesting things you can do. And Colby brought up his favorite sandwich, and that would be the Thanksgiving sandwich. Are you familiar with the Thanksgiving sandwich, Matt?
I believe so. I want to say this is the sandwich that has the turkey,
Yep.
It has gravy, it has stuffing,
Yep.
and cranberry sauce.
Absolutely. And
That's a great sandwich.
Colby made sure to point out that his favorite sandwich shop, D'Angelo Sandwiches, which is, I think, only in Massachusetts, so sorry, literally everyone else, has it on their menu all year round, which is apparently quite rare. But it's kind of an innovative idea to put a whole meal on a sandwich like that. And I was trying to think if there were any other real innovative sandwich ideas.
Just thinking about that makes me sleepy.
I know. I know. That is a winning combination.
It really is. I mean, you could do a Halloween sandwich.
Okay.
You got to take all of the candy from your kid's candy bucket. Okay, you open them all up. You sort them out, the chocolate and the fruit candies. Okay, one pile of the chocolate candies, one pile of the fruit candies. You heat them up in the microwave so that they melt into one solid, like a solid block of each one. You let it cool. All right, you put it in a special tray so that it takes the shape of that tray. And then you're gonna put each one of them on a large graham cracker. Okay. Then you're gonna put them both together. So you have one solid layer of fruit candy and one solid layer of chocolate candy. And then you just put another graham cracker on the other end. And then this is where the condiment comes in. Special Halloween condiment. You're going to take all of the candy corn that you have. You're going to melt that together with caramel, like a special layer of caramel. And you're going to just kind of line the top of the sandwich with that, almost like that's the cheese of the sandwich. If you want, you can dip the entire thing in chocolate.
Oh my God.
And then put it in the refrigerator overnight so that it freezes.
Matt, that's incredibly disgusting. I'm sorry. Like, look, I'm all for creative ideas, and to be completely honest, as someone who lived with you for a year, it would not surprise me if I walked into the kitchen one day to see you making this, and you thinking it's a good idea. But I can assure you, I can't think of any situation where I want a chocolate candy brick and a fruit candy brick smashed together in some horrible Frankenstein's monster sandwich creation.
We can call it the Frankenstein sandwich.
Oh my God.
Perfect.
But you did give me an idea, and this could be our, once again, we just give out $1 million ideas on the show all the time. But I think the next great franchise idea is the dessert sandwich.
Yeah.
Because there's so many ways you could do that, right? You've got cinnamon bread, you've got banana bread, you got all kinds of sweet breads,
Pumpkin
right?
bread.
Pumpkin bread, absolutely. In between that, you give people the option. You can do Nutella, marshmallow, caramel, chocolate, all kinds of chocolate, minced honey. You can do fruit, right? Because that's kind of a dessert. Some whipped cream in there, maybe. Cream cheese. You got so many options, and then you can serve it just as a straight sandwich, or you put in a panini press. Bam, hot dessert sandwich.
I don't know if I would trust the banana bread in a panini press.
It is a little.
I
crumbly.
feel like that's a little soggy. Yeah. But if you put some, you reinforced it with like a graham cracker or something.
Sure. Could
I
you?
wonder if you can make s'mores in a George Foreman grill. You probably could, right?
Well, the problem is you've got those ridges. I feel like you'd break the crackers. You need the George Foreman where you can swap in the flat plate.
Oh, totally. or just like a regular panini press.
I don't know. That's a good question. But I think too there are other ways to do s'mores other than just in graham crackers too.
Yeah,
Like if you can just get any kind of sweet dough, to put, make a pancake and put, or make a waffle and put some more stuff with it, which I know you can do in most panini presses. So
it's a good point.
there are lots of ways you can do that. Gosh, so many sandwiches. Isn't it amazing, Matt? The food ovations that that you can come up with just the humble sandwich.
It's true. It's a portable food. You can carry it basically anywhere, and it fills you up. Yeah, the sandwich is great. It's like we pretty much perfected the most convenient food imaginable.
I really think that if we famously sent out, what was it, the Voyager probe that had the gold record with all of man's achievements on it, and we sent it out into space. I feel like if we ever did that again, we should put the recipe for the sandwich in that and send it out into space as a pinnacle of human society.
Yeah, totally agree.
Things
Totally agree.
Damn. Well, Matt, we are out of time for this discussion on sandwiches, our continuing look into the world of food here on Up for Debate. Any final thoughts on sandwiches? Other than you probably want one now, like I do.
Oh yeah, talking about this, definitely makes me want a sandwich.
Oh boy.
I think those people that pronounce it sandwich, I think they need to stop.
Who does that though? I've never heard anyone say that.
I've heard a lot of people say it, and it kind of drives me insane. It's not a sandwich; it's a sandwich.
Although
it's also not a sandwich; it's a sandwich.
Worse for me is a Sammy.
A Sammy?
A Sammy. People call it a Sammy.
Yeah, well, then I just won't know what the hell you're talking about.
But that's what I'm saying. That's so far off. I don't even know where that comes from. That doesn't even make sense. Matt, any thoughts on what we want to talk about next week, or are we gonna hold off and surprise the folks at home?
Oh, we had a pretty good thing going with the Magic School Bus. We certainly definitely go from there. As long as you pencil in the calendar that November 3rd is in fact
National Sandwich Day.
National Sandwich Day. Have a sandwich while we talk about coffee.
Or we talk about coffee. A whole episode about coffee. I think that's a good idea. Very good. Well, I will mention at this juncture, as I normally do at this juncture, that if you enjoy this show, and thanks to everyone who checked it out live on Facebook, we do this Thursday nights. God, I don't even know what day of the week it is. At 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, in the evening on Thursdays on our Facebook page, facebook.com/upfordebatetv. But if you can't check it out live, of course, our website, upfordebatetv.tv, is the website. And it's got all our episodes, audio and video. And, of course, all the links to subscribe are there on the website at upfordebatetv on Twitter. And I do want to briefly mention Game Nights, Matt, which is the show we do along with Dan and Colby. And by the time you're listening to this, that means the first episode of our first side quest will be published. Neverwinter Heist. We'll be live with our new Dungeon Master, Dan. And, Matt, you have a new character.
That's right. What was her name again?
Oh, my God. We're such a mess. Trumbolina, right?
Yes.
Thrombolina, something like that.
Trimbrolina, Grumble Smotherer.
Sure. That's close enough. I'm not going to challenge you on that.
She is a very religious paladin dwarf.
Who hates me.
Who does not like Shaun's Dragonborn character. And, it's kind of a will they won't they scenario, if you will.
They won't. But I can assure everybody that we get ourselves into a situation that, A, we haven't recorded the resolution to yet, and B, I'm not sure we can resolve. So if that's any indication, that's where you're going to want to tune in. Well, That's about it. So thanks everybody for joining us. On behalf of Matt, this is Shaun. Thanking you for joining us on this episode of Up for Debate, and we hope to see you next time for even more exciting discussions here on this show.